Hi there, and welcome to another one of my classic reviews where I pick up my all-time favourite movies, give it a rewatch and then come review it. And in this video I'm talking about The Social Network, which is one of the real modern day sort of American classics. It's a film which I think has only become better as time has gone by because it's a real interesting film about the creation of Facebook, something which has significantly changed our lives and continues to change our lives to this day. Facebook really changed internet culture, it really changed the way the internet worked, and it changed social media and social interactions massively. And as a film about the creation of Facebook, it's a real look at an important moment of history. Even if right now it doesn't seem like it's that important, I think Facebook and its creation really is significant in shaping all of social media today, really. And we wouldn't even be in this scenario where I'm even writing reviews and posting them online without something like Facebook. So, as a work of art, this is trying to capture history, and although The Social Network is incredibly inaccurate, and many people have cited the inaccuracies and the problems and the flaws of The Social Network and how it doesn't really cover what actually happened, what it instead captures is the real spirit of what Facebook led to, of the way that Facebook redefined social interaction and redefined friendship. This is a film about friendship and about social interaction and about the way that Facebook reduced society to really an emotionless, creeping sense of just algorithmic cyber world where everything is defined and already planned and programmed, and we're trying to streamline and get more efficient. It's about making the world smaller and about making connections instantly and not about growing natural human relationships. That's not, of course, to say in some horrific parable, oh, look what the machines have done to us. It's much more just me saying that the world has changed and how we interact now is different to what it used to be. And this is a significant point in history, and any film which attempts to capture something like this at a point pretty much relatively recently, I mean, this film came out 2010, Facebook had been around for less than a decade when this came out, really is important and really is something that matters, and is why something like this is very crucial as a piece of art. So there's two real auteurs who drive The Social Network. There's director David Fincher and writer Aaron Sorkin. So Aaron Sorkin is known for his dialogue-heavy scripts, and The Social Network is one of his very finest scripts. It's a film with so much dialogue that you can't even really keep up with the characters who are thinking so far ahead of the audience. You can, however, keep up with the narrative because Sorkin's script is perfectly crisp and clear, and you know exactly where you are at any given point in the story. What's really fascinating though is that it takes this really bold move of telling the story without chronology, without linearity. It jumps around, it makes timelines jumbled up, and what this does is it makes it feel fast and efficient. It saves time, it doesn't spend forever telling us the characters' life stories. And similarly, the dialogue is not natural, it's not realistic, it's not necessarily linear or logical, but it's very efficient, it's very much spot on. Every single line is a punch, every single line is fantastic, and every single line tells you about the characters or the themes or the story. It's all purposeful, there's not a wasted line here. It's a very well written movie, and Aaron Sorkin deserves a lot of credit for this. In fact, he did get a hell of a lot of awards and recognition for this, so that was very deserving. David Fincher, however, is the director, and his work is pretty consistently great. I've really appreciated so many of his films: Seven, Fight Club, Zodiac, Gone Girl. He has a lot of great films to his name, and although The Social Network feels like the film of his that he had the least influence on because Sorkin is such a clear auteur, even as just a writer, The Social Network still has so much of Fincher's distinctive features. We get the colour palette, which is very cool, very brooding. We get the slow and still cinematography, the blankness of it. We get the sense of this is the world people live in, even if it's not a film which is visually ravishing. It's a film which is very much cool and collected and calm. Fincher's usual precision comes into play. I mean, we even have Armie Hammer playing twins because Fincher thought that'd be a better thing than actually casting twins. There's so much of here that is tightly and efficiently controlled. However strong Sorkin's script is, it's all elevated by Fincher's expert direction. Even the music here is great, with it being lively and somehow making scenes of computing and much more alive and human than the more alienating scenes of the characters talking, because the characters themselves seem to lose their connection to friendship. Mark Zuckerberg, who is the character in the film who is expertly played by Jesse Eisenberg, who is fantastic here. Mark Zuckerberg is such an intriguing character, someone who is callous and harsh, but also someone who is seen to not really be able to connect with people. He's seen as a bit weird. In fact, this is really a film about him burning his only friendship. Someone played by Andrew Garfield, who is the other fantastic performer in this film. And I think this whole film is just about the way the friendship dissolved. It's about the reduction of that friendship. It comes down really to popularity and culture. It comes down to the fact that Zuckerberg can't get into clubs. Zuckerberg isn't the cool kid. Zuckerberg is out of the loop in a lot of ways, and he develops this new system, he develops a new way that he can bring society to him. He creates a way that he can make society just an online algorithm and not something that he has to actually deal with. And I think a lot of this comes through in the very strong characterisation of his bluntness, of the way that he's callous, of the way that he doesn't treat people as they should be treated, and the fact that he gets quite vindictive and quite petty. And in fact, I think that kind of shows a lot about how innovation genuinely happens. People are petty, people clamber for social capital, and to do so they will fight and they will be nasty to each other and harsh, and they will burn a lot of bridges. And I think that's kind of how innovation genuinely happens in our world. And another thing I think is interesting here is that a lot of this comes down to sex in the context of the film. There's a big thing made of Mark Zuckerberg not being able to get into a club, but it's also shown that the club is basically something to get into to get sex. There's a big thing on Facebook's fountains coming from something that happens after a breakup. Facebook's fountains also comes from dating idea. There's a lot of this which comes down to sex and the power of sex to really innovate and change society. This is just a film about guys just thinking with their dicks, and I think it's interesting that that is how society has moved forward. And what we have to accept is that either that is a reality we must just live with, or we have to say that's quite an indictment of how bad our society is. And so that's what's driving the film. It has a lot of interesting things to say. It's about the way that friendships are built and fall down. It's about a fascinating look at a character who changed the world, and of course it's very inaccurate, it's very much loose. It's not a film which is flowing with precision in terms of getting the facts right, but it has a real sense of time and place. It has a sense of this is the sort of thing that led to where we are now, and that's kind of what I feel is that however untrue the film may be, it's probably relatively accurate to the spirit of what happened and to the spirit of quite how we have something like Facebook that exists. And it's an interesting film, it's fascinating, it's very well made, it's a technical masterpiece, and it really is a deep look at flawed characters and a deep look at the way the world is moving and the way the world is changing. And it's one of Fincher's finest films. It's a modern day classic, one of America's best films of the last few decades, and one of the few films to get Oscar recognition in recent years that I think was totally deserved, because more times than not the Oscars are pretty terrible. But this was a really fantastic film. I really think that it holds up. I think it's only got better as time has gone by, and I think it will soon be seen as one of the cornerstone works of the early 2010s. It's a real fantastic film, and one that I thoroughly recommend, although I imagine most people have already seen it, because like Facebook, it's pretty damn popular. So that's what I think of The Social Network. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've seen it, so please leave me a comment. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to watch more of my reviews, you can subscribe. If you want to read more of my reviews, you can follow me on Letterboxd or Twitter, links in the description. And thank you for watching.